Karakuri Circus episode 15. Yeah, I am really happy with the episode. I feel really happy because I think the main thing, right, this feels a lot more, like, how to say it, what I expected the anime to be, and necessarily that something is, meeting up expectation isn't good or is bad, but I mean more like, when I started watching the anime, it was more like, okay, we have puppets, and we fight with them, and then we have different like puppet skills, and then we have this guy that's like really cool, big man, he can fight with his fist for some reason, right, like a martial art, and then there's like really hot, attractive lady, she has like a circus ability, she's a great puppeteer, but also that she can fight with, random circus abilities and kick people and so on. And that was kind of the general team, right? They were fighting different puppet masters, with different puppet abilities and so on, right? And it was a kind of, and the story was mainly like, okay, your family has an ancestry of making puppets, and they were important, and you're rich, and it's a kind of mystery here, so kind of thriller with that. Like episode 1 to 5 was about that, right? Then as soon as episode 5 started, when Narumi was alive again, it really was not an anime. Like Masaru wasn't in the anime pretty much anymore. Shirogane wasn't pretty much in the anime anymore. It was all about Narumi also turning into a Shirogane. Already that, I feel the anime with a little weird storyline where before that Shirogane was her name, right? Suddenly Shirogane actually is like a title, almost like a race, and then she's like, oh, I'm also Shirogane now. And it's like 1,000 more of them. But before that, it's like, okay, they jump there, suddenly they're in China. We get the backstory about how puppets were created, and then it's like, oh, evil, super, internal living guys, evil circus. And then after that, they were suddenly more in Sahara, right? And they had like, oh, it's not just like us, Guy and Shirogane and Narumi. We have like 300-400 more Shiroganes, and they're all pretty much canon footage because they die like one day or something. Yeah, they're all horrible how they're doing though, but most of them are bad. Yeah, but it felt like the anime was completely different. And some stuff was really good, some stuff was not really good, especially how most characters were introduced and died in pretty much the same episode. But I mean, that to me felt like a completely different thing was had in the beginning, right? But it felt, sure, some of the battles weren't brilliant in the beginning, but they were more like, oh, I have this puppet ability, how can I use that? Like the ball throwing guy, and she would counter by catching the balls mid-air, throwing them back and so on. It was more like strategic puppet battle, right? Sure, the anime has a very high pace, but it was more of that. And then in the Narumi Shirogane army story, it suddenly turned into more like, well, we have a lot of powers, and you can't kill us because we can heal really fast. And I mean, yeah, like before Shirogane got knife impaled there by Wanda, she was just like a super well trained circus, yeah. And then suddenly she had healing powers and could like survive a lot of stuff and so on. And yeah, I think that was weird, yeah. I think this part now, coming back here then, of course, after this episode, feels much more like it's following episode 5 and, 1 to 5 and then the episode with Wanda and Shirogane and so on. And I have to say, I do actually dig it a lot more. It feels like all the story with Narumi was good somewhat, but I think one thing that ruined it, obviously, it was jumping. Bam, 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 that was just crazy. But also, like, character introduced and dice them, so on. But also that it went from being, okay, we have puppets and we have cool puppet battles, right, with weird abilities, into like we are all superhumans, and some of them are like cyborgs and they fight with like their arms, yeah, and the the evil clown things, they're machines, they're kind of like just super evil androids and so on, yeah. Like and the purpose was like just make her laugh, an interesting story actually, kind of like the mix of like happiness and so on. But there was like a mystery there. There wasn't a mystery there. It was basically evil circus, evil queen, kill them all, right? This I think is much more back to the beginning in that sense too, where it's like, wait a minute, why is his father trying to take his memory or like into the boy? Does he want to be like young again? So his grandfather knew about it, and he's like a good guy. He's like a ninja clan with him, and I think this episode is much more back to the mystery thing, the thriller thing. So that's great as well. But then also, of course, the puppet battles in this episode, even though they're pretty short, they felt better in my opinion a little bit. Because, I mean, okay, I like Narumi, actually, I like Narumi a lot, right? I don't say that thing, but Narumi's fighting style is kind of like, emotion punch, he's kind of doing that, right? It's kind of like, whoa, that's kind of how he fights, right? And, yeah, and it bleeds, and it's like, he keeps fighting, yeah. And that wasn't really following, I felt, the first episode, where it was like, oh, I have this puppet thing, and you know, different weird things. Here, when Master brought out the clown, the skeleton clown puppet, that was awesome. Oh, it's like weird, wobbly skeleton, like a drunk skeleton clown fight thing. That was sweet. And the golem team, of course, classic golem, right? With the name here and so on. Yeah, very, very golem. And then the last thing is like a flying Jack-o'-lantern. You know, we can fly, yeah, weird abilities. Another guy has like a ninja puppet because they're ninjas, and they have a ninja, and then there's a kind of spear fighting, like a yari guy. So I think that was like, that felt much more at the beginning. And also that the abilities are different. I felt, in my opinion at least, maybe the anime, probably the version of the manga, but the machine guys, the machina, the big four had different abilities on, but the other were kind of just weird. Like, oh, we have a spinning thing in my head. They were kind of like a weird, crazy machines that. And Narumi beat them all by just punching them. That was one thing too. Narumi beat them all by just doing the emotional punch thing. It wasn't like one strategy. It was like punch, 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 and that was enough pretty much. And then all the characters was like, Narumi, I love you. I'm gonna save you. For some reason, they all loved him and they all died for him. But yeah, this feels much more, I don't say down to earth, because the storyline is crazy with the memory thing, so it's not down to earth in that sense, but it does feel down to earth, because now it's more again mystery, it feels more human, that there are humans controlling the puppets with different abilities. It's not, you know, we cannot die because we have immortal blood or something. It's more like, no, we're like different humans with different abilities, different strategies. So this feels to me it's actually much more exciting. Yeah, like honestly, I feel this sequence, I think, sure, in one way I want to know, okay, it's like, you know, will he remember Shirogane Master? Will Narumi get his memory back? Will he be in love again? And so on. But at the same time, I'm like, man, this was badass. Like, I really liked these things. Like, yeah, it's back to like the original storyline. You know, back to the unanswered questions on that thing. And also, generally, the fights, to be even those very short fights, they all, in my opinion, felt more exciting. And that might sound really stupid. I think people agree with me, but I think it's fair, because the Narumi fights, I mean, even though I like Narumi, they all become the same thing. Especially in the end, where everyone's like, I believe in you, Narumi. I am gonna commit suicide for you, Narumi. But everyone just went out and died for his sake, right? And he just kept being like, you know, oh yeah, I am angry now, and he just punched harder and someone died. That's pretty much what he did, yeah. Like those last fights there were the worst fights, in my opinion, where everyone just committed suicide to kill them. Especially after Lucille, she did that this massive, like, you know, here's my daughter puppet thing that I've created that can control you, and I made you kill me by also killing you. That was really bad. That was a really, really good part where she died to kill the first one of them. That was amazing. Then the other two guys like, we will also die for that thing. They completely like diminished her suicide by making everyone else also suiciding, even though they have less desire to die than her and like less revenge drive, and they like also did it, and then made her sacrifice. You seem like, okay, oh, everyone did it, or whatever. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm happy after that. Yeah, this episode to me at least makes me much more excited to see it. Actually, yeah, honestly, I am much more excited to see Master's storyline than Narumi trying to remember Eleanor, like whatever. Yeah, that's probably gonna happen. Yeah, this thing seems more intriguing, but also because the Narumi thing is somewhat predictable. Like he's gonna have to hate her, gonna fall in love with her again. Yeah, probably, yeah, who knows? But something like that. This is more like this will go out of the way. Is the father maybe in someone else's body? Maybe, you know, the father couldn't reach his son right with the memory thing, so maybe he never got his father's memory. Maybe the father actually is inside someone else and trying to get his body, or so on, right? So it feels like this could go either way. Why is the grandfather like in health? Can he become like a cyborg? Who knows? I think really believe his grandson, and so I think this immediately seems much more intriguing, much more interesting to follow this master. So I think it actually is much better. That being said, though, man, the anime is weird. Man, the anime feels like two completely different storylines. I feel like I'm watching two different animes, right? One is about Narumi fighting evil circus people, and now it's like Masuro with the puppet thing. And now it's more like puppetry. The story about the ancient puppet house of Japan, right? With weird powers, and they are so completely different from each other. Except they have fight with puppets, but barely. Because in Narumi's storyline, it was more him fighting machines with his fists. So, but they're like very different. but maybe it's gonna be like his father's actually the brother of the shiny, been down, maybe his father actually him, and he couldn't like live any longer, so trying to use his memory, to download his memory to new people, so he had to do that thing. Maybe that how it's connected. I don't know, but I think this is interesting at least. This to me definitely sparked my interest in Karakuri. I think it's a very good episode. Definitely, yeah. It's like, man, now I feel it's more back to basic, much more interesting in my opinion. I probably am very repetitive now. No, but I don't know. I just want, I'm excited. I feel much more excited. But much more like, I want to see what happens in this arc, and I hope it stays more on this thing more than the Narumi thing. Like that thing to me feels like a little less important now than this thing at least. Something like that. And also it does though. I would say that thing though. It does make me feel though that if Shirogane never had healing powers and was just a normal girl with extremely well trained circuit, like how she looked to be in the first like 6-7 episodes. If that was the thing, and she never got like impaled by one, then I healed, and she actually got impaled like, it hurts, yeah. If that actually was the storyline, and the whole thing never happened, or the other thing might happen, but not with her, that probably would be better in my opinion. If she was a normal girl, right? That is like super well trained by Lucille, that like evil clown circus training prison thing. If that's how she turned into her power stone, that would be better than she also being just a random immortal woman for some reason. Maybe. I'm not saying it has to be better because I haven't seen the end yet, but I do feel that was a little more fun actually, the circus thing. That being said though, I realized during live reaction that the reason why she doesn't hate the other machines, right, is because of course she's not the same blood. All the other Shiroganes have his blood, right? They hated the machines. She's actually of course Francine, so it makes sense that she has no hate for them because she doesn't have his revenge drive. So that actually explains why she's like a free Shirogane without the inputs of killing the machines and can do her own life. So that actually makes a lot of sense. I like it when I think about it. Anyway, hope that's the review. See you guys soon here at Neverland. It's going to be really good as always, of course. And have a great day and later tonight video.